Hi friends, and welcome to the next video. In this video, I'm going to talk about something very interesting. Do you have to be a weirdo to be really great? What does this mean? Okay. Now, we've all run across those videos of like boxers, when they show off. They're really threatening the other guy and they're dancing around and making the other guy look foolish, but they're really boasting and doing crazy stuff. And then they get to the fight and the quiet guy beats the living hell out of the other guy, the guy that was boasting. I find that extremely interesting because it has many parallels to drumming. So when I was a kid, I was a total drum nerd, as probably, most of us were. Complete drum nerd. No girls, no chance, right? Just total nerd. This is interesting because as I grew up, as I started growing out of that, I felt almost like, man, is it kind of necessary to be weird? To be like an outcast? Because a lot of the times you spend your whole childhood in a room by yourself practicing. If you're a super dedicated player, if you're like one of those people that are burning to play since childhood, that tends to happen. And the side effect of that is that you become socially inept. uh, it's a kind of an interesting situation. So I used to think that you had to be kind of weird to be great. And there were instances that kept confirming this for me. Like, for example, when I was 16 or 17, I went to this drum competition, right? And there was all these guys with big hair and whatever, muscles, and they were going up there and doing their thing. And then there was this one guy, I'll never forget, his name was Rory. I don't know his last name. But Rory was a fat guy, okay? Sorry to say, he was a totally overweight, total nerd. And when he got up there, they introduced him, he sat down on the kit and everybody was yelling at him. Hey, blah, 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 making jokes about his physical appearance and et cetera, et cetera. It was a rough crowd, man, rough crowd. But then the guy started playing, and he started like with the hi-hat, and the whole place just shut up, and this guy just wailed the hell out of everybody. All those dudes with the muscles and the hair and the flipping of the sticks, and this guy, he was a mix between Buddy Rich and the classic guy. Everybody was just blown away. I'll never forget that moment when Rory jammed that down everybody's throat. And everybody was quiet as a mouse, man, when that guy played. It was crazy. So that wasn't one of those. Obviously, he won the competition, which was for me a great redemption of the nerds, let's say. Sorry, but that's the way. I just laugh because I remember myself back then. You hear me speaking now, but I had to tell you, it's a little confession time here. When I was a lot younger, I had to go to speech therapy. Speech therapy, man, because I sounded like Rocky. I'm from New York, so when I was a kid, I sounded like this, really muffled, and I had a severe accent, from New York, and at the time, there was a time that I started doing a lot of acting, and so my acting coach said, "Man, you need to go to speech therapy. You can't continue like this, or you're gonna sound like Rocky the rest of your life," So I had to go to speech therapy, and that helped me come out of that whole thing and liberate my voice anyway. That's how much of a nerd I was, okay? I was super socially inept and etc. Now, that whole thing kind of stuck with me. Do you have to be the strange guy? Do you have to be like the outcast to be really great? Is it an effect of being an outcast that you put so much time into drums, because drums are like your salvation. It's where you feel free. Nobody makes fun of you. You know, you're like in a friendship with drums. Drums are something that never is gonna betray you, never leaves you, never makes fun of you, and you get back what you put into it. So, you know, with all those positive reinforcements going, it's almost like the social, the nerd thing becomes stronger because you isolate yourself even more, and you can go out into the world. You know, the world can be cruel, like what you saw with Rory, what I saw with Rory, and you know, there's other instances too. There's a friend of mine, I won't say who he is, but when I first saw him play, man, he was this kid with glasses and totally like Poindexter. I mean, you know, but man, when I heard him play for the first time, I was like, what the hell? Oh my God. It was sight reading stuff that I've never even seen before. And I was like 17 or something like that. And it was sight reading stuff, and I was just completely blown away by this guy. And he got off the drums, and he became like a nerd again, you know. But when he was playing, his eyes were on fire, and he was like another person. Strange. I know another guy, I'm telling you, he couldn't even tell the time unless it was on a digital clock. He didn't know how to read a clock. And this guy, his parents would say to him, you're not going to school today, you're going to practice. I swear to God, this is what was happening. I mean, they were totally 100% musical family. You know, they homeschooled him, I think, to a big degree, but, you know, there was a price to pay. And when I interacted with this guy, it was like kind of hard to talk to him, you know. It was out there. It was out. I'm wondering, you know, still to this day, I think that all of that has to do with becoming really great, because you need some kind of incentive to put that kind of effort into your life. To acquire a lot of the skills that are required in drumming takes a huge sacrifice, a huge part of your life. And for any adolescent kid, you know, to like sacrifice the friends and the going out and the partying, whatever, I mean, there has to be some reason, you know, outside of the passion. You know, I think drums choose you. You don't choose drums. You know, drums choose you. But outside of that, there needs to be something that makes you take on that sacrifice. So the more I talk about it, the more like it kind of confirms for me this whole thing. And I see guys like that now, and you know, I feel for them. At the same time, I'm proud of them. There's even some students like that on the site. Okay, I got to tell you, guys that are incredibly dedicated, like 17 years old, and they're like, you know, amazing for their age, and they're very heavily participating on the site. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Now there is this other instance, a student I had in Germany. Believe it or not, he was 16 years old, and he read one of my books. He sight read one of my books. Okay, and I'm like, how is this even possible? A freak of nature. Okay, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Exercises that took me a long time to learn before I even wrote them. This kid just sight read them. It was like a freak of nature. You run into those guys, just like freaks of nature, incredibly talented. Now, what happened to him? He became 19 years old and he quit drumming. He became a policeman, believe it or not, in Germany. I don't know why. Life's little things. He could have been an incredible drummer, man. Incredible. I mean, he just left, became a policeman. strange. But anyway, if you're watching this somehow, you're like I was. Let me tell you something. You will grow out of that, okay? You grow out of that phase. But the thing that you cannot recover is time. Okay? Time behind the kit. If you were able to put all that frustration into drumming, that motivation you got from your circumstances have probably helped you tremendously as a drummer. And that's a great thing. That is a beautiful thing, man. You know, eventually you do grow out of the awkwardness. I've seen it happen over and over with many of my students all over the world. And it's something important to know. Like if I could go back in time and tell my younger self anything, I would say, man, take it easy. It's gonna be all right. Just keep doing what you're doing. All the things you need are gonna come to you. Just keep doing what you're doing. There were times where, you know, I didn't know what was gonna happen. And like any kid that age, you know, at that age, you kind of are freaking out about life, you know. But if you're watching this and this sounds like you, please know that you will grow out of this phase and you will have a beautiful thing in your life, which is drums, and you'll have it on your side for the rest of your life. They're never gonna leave you. They'll never betray you. They'll always be your friend. They'll always be there for you. And it's something that's gonna last the rest of your life. I don't know what other thing you can possibly compare to that, okay? So the whole point of this is don't feel alone. Just go through the process, try to enjoy it, and you will grow out of it. Do you have to be a weirdo to be great? No. No. Now, many guys try to do that. They have blue hair and they do drugs and I don't know what that's all about, you know. They'll try to fake that. I think that's really counterproductive, obviously. And you can spot those guys right away, you know. So they're trying to take shortcuts to this artistic thing that you develop. Now, I've also seen guys that are like semi-autistic, you know, and the genius that is explored through the drums because of the autism, you know, is something very interesting as well. Now, it's kind of a bummer to be at that level, you know, that you suffer from that. But it's great that you're able to pour it into something. Anyway, those are the things, man, that I wanted to talk about today. And just to let you know that if this is you, if you're a young guy and this sounds like you, please know that you'll grow out of it and just keep doing what you're doing. Drumming is a beautiful thing. Don't worry about the future. Do what you do. Drumming is going to be great for you. Take care of drumming. Drumming will take care of you. Remember those final words. Okay, folks. Remember to join the lesson site. Remember to join the lesson site. Only $150 gets you into the year-long program. We're having tons of fun over there. One of the most innovative curriculums in the world. The most complete lesson site on the planet. You have me on your side, always there for you, okay? So, see you in the next video. Peace.